Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially in a new era. We are witnessing a paradigm shift and the beginning of a new dynasty. I'm of course talking about the Capcom Pro Tour 2025. Things are in full motion and we are now officially at our third event of the CPT season. We already wrapped up EVO Japan where Minute RD made history, being the only player aside from Daigo himself to win back-to-back EVO titles, taking his second EVO Japan victory. Then we had Combo Breaker 2025 finally returning to the CPT circuit with Lashar, a long time coming, claiming his first CPT Premier title, winning this over 1,300 man tournament in dominating fashion. And now, along with Combo Breaker returning to the CPT circuit for the first time since COVID, CEO is back on the menu with CPT Premier points on the line. CEO is not only returning to the CPT, but it's also returning to Orlando, and players are out here in full force because, like I mentioned, it is not just the CPT season that we have come to know for Street Fighter 6. We have CPT Premier points, and the participant list runs deep. These are not all the notable players, but only the notable players that Liquid could actually fit onto the page on Liquipedia here. If you know a top player, they are probably here in this bracket. While this tournament has around 850 entrants, which is less than Combo Breaker, the amount of international talent runs even deeper than Combo Breaker. Starting with round 2 pools, we had matches that easily could have been CPT Premier Grand Finals going on left, right, and center all over the place. And the upsets in action even kicked off on day 1. For example, we have Jack here behind the camera. Jack just recently making top 8 at Combo Breaker, filming his fellow Wisconsin player Colibri here, taking on Kobayan in pools. Colibri with her Ryu going against Kobayan, who just recently got a 4th place finish at EVO Japan. Colibri with the Ryu has Kobayan in the corner, perfect parry to the back throw. On set point, it's Colibri backdashes on the SPD attempt with the read, conversion to the level 3. Colibri puts Kobayan into losers in round 1 of pools. That is the level of action we are talking about here at CEO 15, but the upsets and the gameplay don't stop there. We then go on to one of the stream matches. We had Cien up against Mystic Smash. Mystic Smash has been a long time top level EU player out of the UK, looking to make another upset here, going up against Cien. They are on match point, final game, final round between these two players in pools. Cien secures a mutual burnout between the two players, has the corner pressure. Mystic Smash needs to defend for his life in the corner. Cien is going for the chip sequence. Mystic Smash binds across him to get out of the corner, gets the counter hit poke, anti-air into the DI wall splat. It's all said and done for Cien. Mystic Smash just needs to complete the combo, but he drops. He drops Cien by the skin of his teeth with the luck of the draw. Manages to move on out of round 1 of pools, but by a razor-thin margin. You know, it's 99% skill, 1% luck, and Cien is lucky in this interaction to survive in pools and move on. And as day 1 proceeds, there's too many strong players and sharks in this bracket, and a lot of these upsets happen off stream. Sleeping Sheep takes out Mago 2-0. Guy in the Zangief mirror match beats Irabashi Zangief, the runner-up to Combo Breaker just last month. The second place finisher loses in pools to the mirror match. Gamer B also drops out early in pools with upsets from Paid Actor and Glutton, and Latif versus Moke was on stream. Maybe an upset. Latif from Guilty Gear Strive, second place at EVO 2011, back with his Sea Viper in Street Fighter 4 days. It's back now, even before Sea Viper makes it into this season of DLC with his M. Bison. He ended up beating Moke on stream. But with that, day 1 is over and concluded with these notable upsets. But day 2 is where I don't even know if you can call it upsets anymore. We have top players taking out top players left, right, and center, and they're no longer upsets, they're toss-ups. But one match that caught my eye here was, of course, Bonchan versus newly anointed 100 Thieves Shine. Here we have final game, final round between these two players. Bonchan secured the burnout against Shine, gets the DI punish on the overhead attempt, pushes Shine to the corner. He has 1 bar super to his name to survive, and he spends it right away. He needs to avoid getting stunned from here on out. Teleports in for the Oki, gets the frame trap on the run, pushing Bonchan to the corner. Meaty overhead setup, trade into the stand MK counter hit conversion, into the stagger jab. Shine on the verge of being burnt out and stunned into his own demise, turns the tides in his favor, clutches it up, and takes the set win over legend of the scene, Bonchan. Big plays there to Shine to stay alive in this bracket, but the action doesn't stop there. Of course, we have so many more games to cover in day 2. It's absolutely absurd. You might have been following along in the brackets, wondering what is going on here. Dogura loses 0-2. Mochi 0-2 to one player named not Pedro. It's not Pedro. Don't call him that. He's not Pedro. This young player here is out of Brazil, not Pedro. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him personally at EVO 2024. Super excited, stars in his eyes, ready to take on the world, to compete and show the world what he is capable of. He is the lone representative in this tournament from Brazil. And if you had your ears to the street, you would know that he is actually a killer. If you paid attention to the World Warrior results out of Brazil, you would know that he actually came second to Zangief Bellotto. Zangief Bellotto had a really big year for himself last season, having a good run at Capcom Cup, participating in Red Bull Kumite, having a really good performance against international killers like Big Bird, for example, at UFA and making top 8 at that tournament. He is the one who stopped Not Pedro from qualifying. So you know that Not Pedro was knocking on that door to be at that elite level of player. And off stream, he was taking out killers like Dogra and Momochi to earn his right to play against DCQ on stream. And here he is undefeated so far. He won 2-0 against Dogra, 2-0 against Momochi. Now up a game and a round on DCQ, is on set point to get his first win on stream of this tournament. Perfect parry through the spike to get the dry rush OS through the projectile. Full CA conversion. He's spending it. He believes in the win. He's going to need one more interaction to take it. Approach. Has the corner control. What's the option here? Fireball, dash up. Walk up DP. He was feeling the momentum maybe a little bit too much. DCQ doesn't fall for it. If you had pressed anything, tech to throw, pressed a jab, it was over. But instead, DCQ stays alive at least for one more round. So it's up to Not Pedro now to not fall apart after potentially blowing his gambit there to close out the set with that level 3 and that walk up DP. He has the corner again, gets the spacing trap buffer to light kick to OD Jinrai to get the level 2 conversion. DCQ in the corner again. Takes the throw once more. Walk up into the newly nerfed throw loop, still in the game. Not Pedro takes it 2-0 over DCQ, waving the Brazilian flag. There on his own, 19 years old, traveling across continent lines, country lines to get the job done. And he proceeds in the bracket. Big shout outs to Not Pedro with a legendary run so far. But speaking of legends, we have Daigo going up against Angry Bird. And Daigo just recently losing that first to 5 at Red Bull Kumite versus Noah the Prodigy. He said in that post-match interview that it was time to take the game serious, to focus his attention on competing, put down the drinks, put down the beer and the alcohol, stop streaming as much, and focus on competing. And he meant business, because here he is up against Angry Bird, EVO 2023 champion. Just recently got, I believe it was 4th place at Capcom Cup. A heavy hitter, the favorite in this matchup. And they're playing in round 2 of pools. This is top 192. This is not top 64, top 32, top 192. We have Angry Bird versus Daigo. Here he is at set point. He was just absolutely shutting down Angry Bird, who got nothing started in this set. Playing the neutral control, pushes to the corner, drive rush in. Stagger throw. Angry Bird doesn't tech. Gets frame trapped with the jabs. And Daigo, a dominant 2-0 over Angry Bird with the Akuma, is staying true to his word. He's here to play. Is Daigo back? Is he back in prime form? Well, we'll have to see how that goes. And of course, we have the new legend in the making here, Blas, the Chilean sensation who took the world by storm with the 2nd place finish at Capcom Cup last season. Here he is back in the bracket. He just got 5th place at Combo Breaker, so he's still fighting for his Capcom Cup qualification in CEO as well. He got a 2-0 victory over QQ in round 1 pools, and then on to round 2, took a 2-1 victory over Hibiki, the best Lily out of Japan on stream using his Akuma, and then got a 2-0 victory over Akira, arguably the best Kami from Japan, who also got top 8 at EVO Japan just recently. But he's not here alone. It's not just Blas in this bracket, because you might know that Blas is 15 years old and the latest prodigy out of Chile. But did you know that his training partner is even younger and is here to play Daigo? Crime is up against Daigo, and Crime is from Chile as well. If you're paying attention to his region, you know, off Team Black, there's Blas, there's Crime. Blas 15, Crime 14. Also a Shoto master playing Ryu, Ken, and every other character in the book. He even has a Zangief. He is here on stream going up against Daigo the Beast. Daigo, the most legendary and most known Street Fighter player of all time. Changed the game. 44 years old. Crime, 14. And this is not Crime's first showing at a CPT premiere. In fact, if you were watching last season at Blink Respawn in the Dominican Republic, Crime actually finished a 4th place finish there at 13 years old at the time. So he already established that he was a super strong player and a killer of this caliber. But CEO is undoubtedly infinitely more stacked right now than Blink Respawn 2024, in large part due to the point system format. And here he is going up against maybe a player who inspired him to even get in the game in the first place, Daigo Umehara, a legend to all the old heads in the scene. But I can't even know if that is Crime's GOAT. That's a lot of our GOATs for my age bracket. Crime was born in 2011. He wasn't even alive when Daigo won his last Evo, which was 2009 and 2010. So I don't know if he holds him to the same regard, and we'll see how it goes in the gameplay. But here we have the set beginning. First round between these two players, 30 years age difference between them. Crime with the light kick buffer, baits out the parry, gets the throw. Daigo in burnout near the corner is going to have to defend against Crime's Ryu here. The whiff DP, definitely an execution error from Daigo. Crime punishes appropriately as well. And look at that setup. I'm sorry, if you're over the age of 20, you did not react to that with a throw or a super. Neutral jump, stagger jab, DI. That was rude. Elder abuse there. Crime gets the first round over Daigo and goes up a round in this set. And then on to the next one. Will it go any different? Well, spoiler, not exactly. Into the corner already in under 10 seconds. Daigo's getting throw loop. Delayed forward jump to bait out the throw tech. Doesn't get the combo conversion completely, but finds the buffer on the spacing trap. Full conversion into the level 3. That's a quick 2 rounds for Crime to go up in the lead 1-0 over Daigo. Daigo does respond with a perfect of his own and is trying to take his first game of the set. Gets Crime into the corner, just needs to control Crime and burnout. He has the reactions, but does he have the discipline? Daigo started representing a lot of invincible uppercut options and shimmies. Crime was biting on the throw tech pretty heavily, and Daigo might have found his opening to beat the young upstart here with the defense and the exploitation of the throw tech habit. But Crime's offense is suffocating and goes up around here to bring him to set point. Does the Hashogeki whiff to bait out the parry attempt into the low forward, into the confirm from the Hashogeki to the level 3. Daigo, burnt out, has CA to his name on his last legs. He's going to have to defend against a fully loaded Crime in the corner. The drive rush from the light gets the stagger jab. Chip is a problem here. Jump to force the block stun into the OD Hashogeki chip sequence, and Crime with the primal snarl takes the win over Daigo the Beast from Chile, and we are seeing a new era. Our legends, our GOATs are falling left and right. They're still here to compete and still here to play, but we are clearly seeing the rise of the new stars in the FGC. And it's not just Blobs from Chile. We have Crime on Team Black out of Chile as well, showing that there is a new scene to look out for. Crime moves on over Daigo. Probably my favorite set of the whole tournament, to be quite honest. But with that, we are wrapping up day 2. There were so many amazing matches on stream and off stream. I highly recommend checking out the VODs to see all of the matches that were played on stream that day. Far too many to cover in this video, so many amazing moments, but these are the top 48 players that will move on to Sunday. We have Lashar, Zhen, Cien, Hikaru, Crime, Latif, Punk, Boost, Momochi, Daigo, and the like. So many killers in this bracket, but only one is going to make it as the champion of CEO 15. As we move on into day 3, every single match from here on out could potentially be a grand finals match. We have matches like Daigo versus Kopayon for top 32 off stream. Boost eliminating Momochi off stream as well. A really hype match that would have been amazing on the stream. And Tokido eliminating DCQ. Junior Zangief eliminating Angry Bird and Shanghai. Killers after killers. Champions of EVO, Esports World Cup, and the biggest premieres out there all falling left, right, and center. And these are the off stream matches as we proceed through the top 48 on day 3. But as it all winds down, we have the top 24 secured. We have a Blaz versus Lashar showdown. Zhen versus Any Walker, Not Pedro versus NL, Crime Punk, and the rest of the gang and the loser side bracket. Just killers left from here on out, running the gauntlet to make it into this top 8 for CEO. And speaking of not Pedro, we return to the run of the Wonder Boy from Brazil. He's going up here against NL to qualify for top 8 on winner's side at this tournament. We're at the final game, final round between these two players with the throw loop. One throw or one jab away is Pedro from closing out this set. NL fighting for his life in the corner. He texts the take throw after the drive rush, finds the counter poke with the confirmed to the OD Hasho to push to the mid screen. Careful with the fireballs. A reaction with the level 2 through the OD fireball from NL, keeping him alive in this set. Pedro is desperately searching for his opportunity to get that final touch. Doesn't want to burn himself out on a drive rush cancel. Doesn't want to get clipped by a drive rush cancel in return from NL. OD fireball through the regular one with the pickup and the bait. NL makes the comeback and is playing spoiler to the run of a lifetime from Not Pedro, securing his own top 8 winners side appearance. But Not Pedro is not out of this yet. He does have a shot in the loser side bracket. Now down in the losers bracket, Not Pedro does still have a chance to make it into this top 8 bracket, but he has to go through NuckleDu, one of the best from the US, and also a player who was once a young prodigy of the game back in the Street Fighter 4 days, now a seasoned veteran. Not Pedro is once again on a final game, final round scenario here. He lands in level 3, has NuckleDu in the corner, has the life and meter advantage, just like he did versus NL, but was unable to close it there. Forces the burnout from Du with the OD flash kick to stay alive in this set, maintains a corner control. Jinrai harassment, surprise jump scare with the DI, no drop on the combo, and Not Pedro gets it done. His head is in his hands, the tears flow, the emotion erupts from him. He has done it as the sole representative from Brazil at 19 years of age, flying out here by himself. He gets it done against all odds, raising the flag of Brazil. It means so much to him, and it's amazing to see how much it really means that he was able to get this done. Not Pedro also had this to say on Twitter after qualifying for top 8. I am the one-man Brazilian army. I'm very happy with my first international top 8. Thank you very much to everyone for cheering me on. I felt like the whole of Brazil was there on stage with me. I'm very grateful to everyone who helped me get here. I'll do my best to advance even further. Not Pedro in top 8. Wow. Meanwhile, our other representative from South America making a deep run in this bracket, Crime, is going up against Punk, the EVO 2024 champion, and also the reigning CEO 2024 champion, who's back trying to defend his title, going up against Crime, who's already taking down so many legends of the game. Here is Punk on set point, though. A game apiece between these two players has Crime near the left side of the screen. Hashogeki harassment. Punk defends correctly and checks a surprise jump drive rush, which Crime is so effective at using against so many other players. Air-to-air reaction from Punk. Listen, Crime might have the offense and the fast twitch reactions, but Punk has those as well. What an amazing pickup air-to-air to get that confirmed into the level 3. And Punk also playing spoiler here, puts Crime down into losers. Crime saying, no, wasn't my time yet. But he still has another shot as well in losers bracket. And that opponent he has to go up against to make his way into top 8 via losers is Cien, who we saw in the beginning of this video had a very tumultuous first round match against Mystic Smash and is now trying to fight his way through losers to get into top 8 himself. Here he is up against Crime. Crime on set point. Game apiece between these two players. Cien harassing him in burnout near the corner. Just needs to find a stun, needs to find one opening. Amazing defense from Crime, though, and finds the low forward to challenge the pressure. Converts from the Hashogeki to the level 3. He already knew it was over. Jumping up in his chair, popping off. Crime, at 14 years old from Chile, has qualified for top 8 at CEO. And there's the well-deserved pop-off. The roar, the snarl to let the people know that Crime and Chile is here to play. And as it all whittles down, we have our final 8 competitors. We have Lashar versus Zhen over here, and Lashar out of Korea in his second premier top 8 in a row. He just won Combo Breaker barely a month ago, and it's in Winterside top 8. And remember, at Combo Breaker, he did it all through the losers bracket, losing to Bonchan and around top 32. This time, he has the Winterside advantage. He's going up against Zhen out of China, making his first premier top 8 appearance of this season. NL from Korea versus Punk from the US of A run back from Esports World Cup, where NL knocked Punk into losers. Then on the loser side of this top 8, Kills You out of France versus Ryukichi, and Not Pedro from Brazil versus Crimea, the South America showdown there in the loser side bracket. Two of the biggest underdogs in this bracket, making the biggest waves in this tournament. It's about to be an amazing top 8. And these players are competing for big prizes, like $2,000 for first place. To be fair, there's a bit more money in the prize pool with the 850 players who entered who paid to be in the prize pool. Makes first place around maybe $7,000. But to be clear, what they're competing for is not really the prize pool itself. They're competing for that Capcom Cup qualification spot. And of course, the Esports World Cup qualification spots as well. There are 2 spots for Esports World Cup for top 1 and 2. And first place goes to Capcom Cup, unless someone wins or places ahead of you who is already qualified. And in this top 8, that is actually a real possibility because we have Lashar, who already qualified by winning Combo Breaker in this bracket. And speaking of Lashar, he's going up in our first match, and just take a look at his run here, beating Kusanagi, the UFA reigning champion, one of the best Ryu players in the world out of France. VX Bao, always a world-class contender, Capcom Cup qualifier. Took out Knuckle and of course Blaz, the other Chilean prodigy right there, second place at Capcom Cup. So he had a super dominant run in the winner's side of this bracket up against Zhen. No slouch himself, took out Sahara, who just got second place at BAM over in Australia, an Esports World Cup qualifier with his Ed, one of the newest pickups from Team Good 8 squad. So he's going to be competing in Street Fighter League as well with them. He took out Big Bird, the Red Bull Kumite champion, in second place at EVO 2024. Juicy Joe, who made a big splash at Capcom Cup this year with his 5th place finish with his JP. And Ending Walker has been making a lot of waves with his Ryu and just placed, I believe, 4th place at Combo Breaker a month ago as well. So these two are going to throw down in the winner side of top 8, and we're going to see if someone can stop this man Lashar. Is it Zhen's turn? Well, Lashar here is already at set point with a perfect on his side. Zhen landed the level 3, trying to stay alive, making it a 2-2 set. He lands the throw. Lashar has his guess for game. DPs after the plus frames after the OD head stomp, but finds the frame perfect challenge after the jab into the level 2. Single hit confirm. That's a KOF player right there. He knows how to do those confirms. They lock hands after and embrace in an intimate exchange. And this is a super subtle interaction, but I was so impressed. This is what sets Lashar apart from the rest. Even though I'm sad he's playing Mai instead of his Ed, he is actually one of the strongest players I've ever seen in this game. Just look at this immediate challenge after the blocked spaced out jab, because he walked away from the pressure in this instance, trying to go for a shimmy. And when Zhen in response challenged with a button, he knows that there's nothing Zhen can do here to beat the next follow-up crouching medium punch. Blocked jabs are negative on block. The best you can do is chain into a second one to frame trap, but at range, your jab would whiff here. If you press another crouching light punch, it would probably just get whiff punished instead by the crouching medium. So that awareness of when to challenge with a 6-frame medium like that is so strong, and one of the super fundamental aspects of Lashar's game that makes him so powerful and allows him to do things like surprise single hit confirm mediums into supers to close out big sets at CPT premieres. Lashar is moving on to winners finals. Meanwhile, for our next match, we have Punk coming up to the plate, the EVO 2024 champion and the CEO 2024 champion. He already has the belt. He wants to add another one to his collection, and on his run, you can see he took out Kusanagi from Mexico, Takamura out of Belgium, and Latif back playing some Street Fighter 6, and Crimea. He was the one person to stop Crimea on his legendary run so far, so he is warmed up and ready to play. Meanwhile, his opponent, NL took out Ryusei, the EVO Japan champion, Mena RD, Kings Vega, one of the best up-and-coming Blanca players out of Japan, and not Pedro to get into the spot. And not only that, but he is the person who beat Punk at Esports World Cup 2024 in group stages. So there's a bit of history here. That was after Punk had won EVO, but EVO, you play for the accolades and the pride and the legacy. You don't get that much money, maybe 20K. Esports World Cup was $500,000 for that prize, man. You want to win that one for the money. And NL was one of the 2 people to stop Punk on that process. So how does it work out this time for Punk? Well, you can see here NL at that point, clean whiff punish, easy dry rush confirm, full level 3. It was a quick 3-0 for NL. I had never seen Punk so controlled in a set before. This is normally how Punk picks apart his opponents. It was very strange to see Punk be on the receiving end of such a dominant, controlling match. He got nothing started. This might be the beginning of a problematic matchup for Punk. We saw also at Street Fighter League USA, Punk had a really hard time dealing with Kawano's Akuma as well, opting to go for Kimberly and nearly closing that one out, but in the end falling to Kawano's Akuma and getting second place at Street Fighter League Worlds. So we're starting to see a pattern of maybe a troubling character for Punk in this game, but NL takes it in dominant fashion. He is on point today to go into winners finals up against Lashar coming up. Meanwhile, in losers, it is time for the two surprise players in this top 8, not Pedro from Brazil and Crime out of Chile, to go up against each other. Unfortunately, South America has to have a team kill this early in the top 8, but that ends the breaks because, I mean, there could have been a lot of other players in this position, but these guys decided to do work. Looking at Not Pedro once again. Dogura 2-0, Momochi 2-0, DCQ 2-0, Kills You 2-1, and Knuckle-Doo 2-1 as well. That run is just nuts, right? Just to go this far and take out this many killers, and that undefeated streak 2-0 versus Dogura, Momochi, and DCQ. Legendary run so far from Not Pedro, but his opponent is even younger and maybe even scarier. I don't know. Crime here, 14 years old, taking out John Takeuchi, Phenom from Norway, Daigo the Beast, Hikaru, Cien, before falling to Punk to be in this loser side of the top 8. Two new legends in the making throwing down in this bracket. And how does it go? Well, you can see here, Crime is already on set point, up 2-0 against Not Pedro in Burnout, though. But an execution error from Not Pedro puts him in a difficult position. Overhead harassment with the confirmation. Overhead from the driver's cancel. Another driver's cancel and delay overhead this time. Crime's offense is absolutely suffocating. It's so hard to keep up with what options he's throwing at you constantly. His offensive mind is one of the sharpest I've ever seen in this game. And Not Pedro eliminated 3-0, but with the sportsmanship, raises Crime's fist into the air. He knows that they are both on a similar journey here from rather underrepresented scenes on the international scale. Both of them making their first splash at a really big international premiere like this. Crime, of course, already had a 4th place finish at Blink Respawn last year, but you can't question it. This CEO is way more stacked. They're making history in the making, and Not Pedro. Props to you. Salutes to you, my man. You have everything to be proud of, and Brazil is watching your performance, and so is the world. We will see much more of Not Pedro in the future. That said, the bracket moves on. We have Kills You out of France up here next, going up against Ryukishi. And Kills You, he is the silent killer, man. This guy is, in my mind, in a similar lane as to Punk and Phenom, just pure fundamentals, and he's not flashy with his gameplay, but he has been taking set wins over the best players in the world for many years now. Since the late era of Street Fighter V, has established himself as one of the best players in the world and possibly one of the most underrated right now, taking out Kudo, Tokido, losing to Not Pedro, and taking out Kaba, Chris Wong, and Blas to get into this position. That is an amazing run so far. Up against Ryukichi. And Ryukichi, he's having his first, I believe, international top 8 appearance. You know, he got 3rd place at EVO Japan 2024. EVO Japan 2025, he got 2nd. But he hadn't really had a big pop-off appearance in a international stage. Always doing really well in Japan. But this time, he came to play in America. 2-0 over PR Rog, 2-0 over Mr. Crimson, losing to Chris G before going 2-0 over Yamaguchi, 2-0 over Akira, 2-0 over Latif, and taking out Hikaru 2-1, and then ending Walker 2-0. Climbing through after going to losers in round 2. That is a deep path to get through on the loser side of the bracket to find himself here in this top 8. So how does your match go down? Here you can see it is 2-1 in games, Ryukichi's favor. Ryukichi now at set point in Burnout, defending against Kills You. Cammy, though, has the super to his name. Kills You drivers canceling in, trying to find an opening. Low forward hit confirmed, level 2 seals it. Yes, it does. Ryukichi takes it 3-1 over Kills You. And to be fair, though, while I do think this was a hit confirm, this is 10 days after the latest balance patch. One of the changes to Ken is that this level 2 is now only -5 on block and has a ton of pushback. So it might have just been safe. I haven't ironed out myself personally all the matchup specific punishes that are possible, but this could just be a safe on block super, so he can just press crouch and medium kick into level 2 and just hope for the best. But either way, I believe in Ryukichi with the hit confirm. He gets that one done, takes it over, kills you, and kills you is eliminated at 7th place, and Ryukichi moves on in this bracket. And here you can see the updated bracket: winners finals, Lashar, NL, Punk, Ryukichi, and losers quarterfinals. And now we have Gen versus Crimea. Originally this matchup was M Bison versus Ken, but after losing that matchup, Gen switched over to the DJ, then forced out the Ryu from Crimea, and now we have Gen at set point, 1 round away from closing out this set. Crimea with the drive rush conversion to push him to corner, but the natural perfect parry, you have to hold back, not down back, to do that on a mid. He read which type of attack he's going to do. With his tournament life on the line, he wakes up with the DP, but gets perfect parried again. The reads from Gen, this time with the meter dump to build the level 3, and that is all she wrote with the full cash out. Gen 3-1 takes it over Crimea and eliminates the 14-year-old player from this top 8. And immediately the analytical minds are going, instead of celebrating the moment, thinking about it, Crimea is discussing the technicalities of how that match went down. But with that, Crimea is eliminated, but he had one of the most legendary runs and one of the most legendary sets of all time, in my opinion. I think the Crimea Daigo set is an all-timer set, and he proved to the world that it's not just Blas out of Chile. They are just feeding the kids I don't know what to produce these fighting game legends in the making. And he has a lot to be happy for, because even though he ended up in 5th place in this bracket, with the way things worked out based on all of the different qualifiers for Esports World Cup, no, he didn't make it into Capcom Cup, but he qualified out of CEO for Esports World Cup to compete for the $1 million prize pool they got going on over there. And the rest of the bracket, Lashar, NL, Punk, and Ryukichi were already qualified, so Gen and Crimea auto-qualified for Esports World Cup. So, good thing for Crimea to qualify for that major event, and good thing for us, we get to see more high-level action from Crimea in the future. But as we move on, Punk actually tweeted this out in the middle of the top 8. I got both my Esports World Cup matches run back in top 8. Let's get revenge on Ryukichi, then NL later. Like I mentioned before, NL was the player who ended up putting Punk into losers in the group stage of Esports World Cup. Ryukichi then eliminated him from the bracket. So he didn't get the revenge immediately on NL, but he can get that run back if he survives in the loser side. How does it go with him versus Ryukichi? Well, as you see here, Punk is now on set point, working on a 3-0 against Ryukichi. Ryukichi fighting back from the corner, drive rush cancel, gets the corner side swap, throw pressure, stagger jabs, don't fall. Punk with the easy low forward challenge and confirm. Nice and easy and efficient, kind of like how NL did to Punk. Punk did to Ryukichi. One of his targets have fallen, and Punk moves on and loser side of the top 8, and Ryukichi is now eliminated. But before Punk's quest for revenge can continue, we have the winners finals, NL versus Lashar. And this is very interesting because both of these players are from Korea. We're having a Korea takeover. Typically, we have a handful of Korea representatives at the top level of Street Fighter, but to have a all Korea winners finals is an extremely rare sight. It's not Tekken. It's not Tekken. It's not as common to see this in the world of Street Fighter. But with these two throwing down, can anyone stop this man, Lashar? Well, so far, it's not looking like that. We're having some blowouts in this top 8. Lashar at set point, working on a 3 over NL, finds a confirm into the level 1. Classic My Fireball patterns with the anti-air DP. Backdash shimmy connects. That's going to be big damage. Goes for the safe jump into the empty jump bait. No response from NL, holding it down in the corner, trying to fight his way out. Look at the stagger pressure from Lashar there, drive rushing in. Easy confirm. This guy's too good. Listen, I hate to see that I dropped the Ed for my personal taste here. I much prefer Lashar as my Ed GOAT, but you cannot deny the results. He is efficiently running through these brackets, taking down these top players. And with that, Lashar makes his way into grand finals for the second premiere in a row. While we did have in previous seasons players place very high and get top 3 and top 2 finishes multiple times in one CPT season, no one has won 2 premieres in a row. While the formats were different, this year's point format actually incentivizes people to travel and keep attending events. Lashar is also auto-qualified already. He's just traveling for the love of the game. But we haven't seen this opportunity for players to establish consistency and play at this level, because normally, even if you are that dominant potentially, once you qualify, you stay home for the rest of the season. But Lashar is potentially looking to make Street Fighter 6 history today. Meanwhile, Punk's quest for revenge continues, but before he gets to NL in the losers finals, he's going to have to get through one Gen here, and he's looking to do it efficiently after taking out Ryukishi 3-0. He's trying to do the same here to Gen, but with a perfect on the board, he decides to walk up and have an execution error and mess up his level 3. He definitely meant to do just like a button, a kick of some sort, but he over buffered and got a level 3. He gave a gift to Gen here and gave him the round. And with that, Punk just needs to not fall apart. We've seen Punk in these positions before where he's looking invincible, then things seem to just disintegrate from then on out. Gen takes that round, and look, suddenly he's in the lead. Suddenly, after looking down the barrel of a 3-0, Gen's working on a comeback. But here, Punk says, no, I will not let you get started. Wait a minute. Forces the burnout, forces the drive reversal out of Gen. Back to the neutral. Nice dive kick placement into the tick throw. Hold on. Things are getting close. Gets the second throw. Suddenly, it's nearly even. And Gen, with this tournament life on the line, wakes up with the level 1 to take that game. This was supposed to be a 3-0. Suddenly, victory is not so assured for Punk. And as we go on, Gen actually manages to win the next game to tie it up 2-2. But Punk needs to do whatever he can to avoid the choke. Here he is at set point this time. Controlling in the middle of the screen. Offense on the side of the Punk. Drive rush cancel, jab to take throw. One more touch will do it. He has the meter for it. Clutch anti-air from Gen, but the check from Punk. Nice, easy confirm into the level 3. Avoids disaster and eliminates Gen to move on in the bracket to attempt his revenge against NL. And now the showdown with the man who caused Punk a ton of grief. Not only did he prevent him from potentially winning a lot of money at Esports World Cup, he dominated him in the top 8 winner side with a 3-0 defeat to his Akuma. So, how does it go for Punk in this one? Well, after that first game, it was kind of another wash with the NL's Akuma against Punk's Kami. And here you can see Punk sucking his teeth a little bit, kind of reluctantly hovering over the Ryu, but he does eventually lock in with the Ryu for a chance to switch up the matchup and potentially sneak one past NL. And that Ryu pick, it doesn't work. You see the spacing trap, the on-block standing MK, forces the pushback, baits the button out from Punk, and that's going to be a quick perfect and a quick game on the board for NL. I mean, I just want to highlight this sneaky spacing trap one more time. You see the throw, the stand MK, walking back like that. This is a classic Akuma spacing trap. I mean, I've been hit by this several times, but this is just matchup unfamiliarity and just getting caught in the heat of the moment. These are classic Akuma Street Fighter 6 tricks. Punk falls for it here with the Ryu, and NL goes up 2-0 over Punk in the set and forces him back to the Kami. And now this time, NL at set point, but Punk has a round on the board. Signs of Life gets the interrupt with the stand light kick on that, but NL finds the driver's cancel to force his way back to mid-screen. Throw for the Oki. Fireball control. Driver's jab is not checked. Overhead is blocked, though. Punk trying to stay alive. He doesn't want this to be a 6-0 versus NL. No one 3-0s Punk twice in a row in the corner. Check, though, from NL. Counter hit conversion and into the level 3. And with that, not only did NL 6-0 Punk, but this was the de facto grand finals. NL has officially punched his ticket early into Capcom Cup. Lashar already qualified for Capcom Cup. Neither of these two players had already made it in. NL proved without a doubt he is ready for that big stage. He's always been a consistent player at that level at Capcom Cup, but to do it at a premiere and not through the World Warrior is huge for NL, and he is going to be able to rest and train up and prepare for Capcom Cup at the end of the season. And now we have grand finals of CEO 2025, an all-Korea affair with NL up against Lashar. And this grand finals pairing, it got me thinking a little bit. Got me thinking about how NL, now 38 years of age, is actually a premier champion in his own right. He's been competing for quite some time, and he won Combo Breaker 2018 7 years ago. And since that day, he has not won a single premier event. Now, don't get me wrong, NL is one of the best competitors on the planet in the world of Street Fighter. Since that day, he has many high-placing finishes, has taken sets off the best players on the planet, and even performed well on stages like Capcom Cup itself with a 4th place finish at Capcom Cup X in Street Fighter VI. But he has been chasing that second premier title for 7 years. Meanwhile, his opponent, Lashar, 25 years of age, much younger, actually had an amazing series of placements after his breakout performance at Capcom Cup X that same year, where NL got 4th with a 5th place finish. Remember, Lashar was then thrown onto the world stage and made his name known by getting out of the group of death at that Capcom Cup on winner's side, with players like Angry Bird and Mena RD, 1st and 2nd place from Evo Vegas that year, ending Walker Kaba and Nero the Boxer. Lashar was the monkey wrench in that pool of death to make it out on winner's side. Since that moment, he had many amazing placements with his Chun-Li. Then eventually he switched over to Ed, and while Momochi was one of the biggest Ed players at the time and innovating a lot of Ed tech, Lashar took Ed to his theoretical maximum and extreme, landing things like the Shin Dream combo, which is a much more highly executionally demanding version of the Dream combos, and had a 3rd place finish at Capcom Cup 11. But even with all of those amazing performances, you still had buzz and talk on the street like this tweet from Mena RD. This year, Lashar was the most underrated player. It sounds crazy considering he had great results, but to me, he looked like the strongest for the entire season. A big W is just a matter of time. During this whole time, he was also the MVP for Street Fighter League Japan, but also failed to win Street Fighter League Japan, getting 2nd place with his team Reject. So while he became your favorite player's favorite player, he was lacking his first ever big win until last month, where, like NL 7 years ago, he won Combo Breaker 2025. Now, these two players are playing in grand finals of CEO, both battling for their second potential premier win on much different time scales and with much different stakes in their own mind. NL searching for a second title for so long. And Lashar, on the other hand, looking to establish the dynasty of Lashar that was brewing in the past year. And now they finally go at it in grand finals. And as things get underway, it's back to the Mai and Akuma matchup. And in winners finals, remember, Lashar dismantled NL with a 3-0 finish. So NL is looking to do anything he can to prevent that from happening. With the level 2, it whiffs on the Demon Flip Drive Rush up punish from NL. Rather fortuitous that Akuma lingered in the air to make that level 2 whiff from Mai. Huge amount of damage, not quite in burnout. He takes the Taxus Lashar with a crosscut DP to get out of the corner. Goes for the Abare jab and it lands, but the backdash on the throw option from NL gives him the corner in return. Low forward confirmed to the OD Adamant Fist drive rush combo. And that's the first game, not only of this set, but the first game that NL has gotten over Lashar this whole tournament. 1-0 NL in this first set. And then on to the second game. Lashar is definitely not wanting to give NL a lead. Here he is up around in the set. Snipes the Demon Flip out of the air. Just swats the fly with the heavy punch with the fan. Drive rush cancel straight into the level 2. Efficient confirm from Lashar to make it a 1-1 set so far. Then here in the third game, NL is up a round, finds the whiff punish on the standing medium kick from Mai, has Lashar in the corner. We have one throw. Do we have two throw? Lashar, you're godlike, but you got to guess like the rest. He tries to get out of the third throw situation, gets the counter hit confirm. NL does straight into the DP level 3. That is a perfect from NL to take his first lead over Lashar. And now NL here, it's on set point to reset the bracket and make it an even 0-0 score. Finds the level 2 through the OD fan from Lashar, and that's gonna burn out Lashar. Chip is a factor here, but he misses the charge fireball. He needs to make him block something. OD fireball, level 1, inescapable chip sequence once that fireball was blocked, and NL resets the bracket versus Lashar at CEO. And with that, Lashar goes back to character select to take a breather to decide what his next course of action is. Yes, he did lose a set 3-1, but he also won winners finals in a dominant 3-0 fashion. So, what does he do in the situation? He switches back to the Ed. While he was originally a Chun-Li main, and that's what he had his breakout performance with at Capcom Cup X, Ed was the guy who really solidified Lashar as the player to look out for, especially at Street Fighter League Japan. So he brings back his old main to this set, which warmed my heart as a former Ed main myself. Lashar was my Ed GOAT, and Mai is not my favorite character to watch personally. So how does it go in this first match of the reset of Grand Finals? Well, you can see there with the perfect on the screen there for NL and the neutral jump conversion straight into the level 3. It didn't go well. It did not go well. This match was a quick wash for Lashar. The end was not warmed up or looking crispy. So with that, Lashar immediately goes back to character select screen once again to figure out what the plan is going to be. Everyone would assume at this point that Mai is the logical answer. It's what he won Combo Breaker with for the most part, and also what got him to this position in the first place. But instead of that, he goes with Terry. Yes, he has a Terry. Terry has been a pet project for Lashar for quite some time. He even had a Terry back a long time ago since Terry had released, but hadn't really had an opportunity to use him in tournament, even though there was tons of footage of him playing Terry heavily online. And now he decided in Grand Finals of CEO, battling to be the first player to ever win back-to-back premieres in Street Fighter 6. Now is the time to bring out his Terry against NL. And how does it go when he takes it into the match? Well, you can see here, there's a round apiece in this game. ODDP from NL disrespecting the pressure, but Lashar with the major disrespect right back does wake up level 3. This is a much stronger reversal option because it attacks the drive gauge as well. If you're going to risk it for the biscuit. Going to try to force the burnout. Gets the crosscut on NL, forces him into the corner. Parry from NL, but he doesn't block his toes after. Gets the full combo conversion. Final guess situation, potentially backdash on the throw from NL. Still surviving in the corner. Maintaining that positioning, but he misses the confirm. NL went for the towards heavy punch target combo, which is supposed to be a single hit confirm. Mistimes that or misplaces that, and Lashar gets the punish to tie it up 1-1 in this set with his Terry. On to the third game of the set. We have a perfect on the side of NL again, but a round apiece in the set. ODDP from Lashar, and quick rise to be in position to level 2 through the fireball again. NL has been so aware of that position and timing with the level 2 to counter Lashar's fireball. Finds the grab, driver shorts, heavy punch connect, full combo conversion, and NL, just like that, is suddenly one game away from winning his first ever premiere in 7 years running. And here Lashar finds the first strike, has NL in the corner. DP on the dive kick attempt from NL. He's trying to find his way out. And then DP level 3 on the jump back attempt. The reactions are ridiculous. To pull that off in the heat of the moment and confirm that uppercut anti-air to level 3 is amazing. Lashar fights off tournament point to bring this to a final game situation between these two players. And as we move into the final game, Lashar has NL in the corner, finds the whiff punish with his own low forward into the combo conversion. Neutral jump bait on the DP. This is going to be huge damage. Full combo conversion. Lashar with the Terry gets a perfect on NL to go up to tournament point with the turnaround. NL fighting to stay alive in this tournament. Blocks the low forward drive rush, but is being pushed into the corner. Standing medium kick anti-air into the drive rush heavy punch meaty pressure. NL back against the wall. This could be the end of the tournament here if he doesn't find his way out. He's trying to find the opportunity, but the check with the stand light kick and the full drive rush conversion. NL, are you okay? That seals it. Lashar is the first ever player to win 2 back-to-back premieres and the first ever to take Terry to win a premiere, period. History is being made right here before our eyes, and Lashar takes CEO 2025 and earns back-to-back premier wins. And with that, CEO 2025 concludes. And this tournament was really special. I feel like it had a lot of converging storylines for the community to appreciate all in one event. Of course, we have NL representing the old guard here, age 38, searching for more victories after he's been competing for so long and still holding up and keeping up with the best of them. Punk representing the current guard, the current elite, him, Mena RD, Angry Bird, obviously still getting consistent results and victories at all these major events. You had the storylines of South America stepping it up and the new young players that will be the legends to come, the Not Pedros, the Crimes, the Blas, all doing major work at this event. And then Lashar himself establishing the new dynasty in the world of Street Fighter, breaking barriers in this game that we have not seen done yet, We had Punk doing it in the past, Tokido doing it in the past, winning multiple premieres and winning back-to-back major events of this caliber. And Lashar is now the first person to ever achieve that for Street Fighter 6. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.